Man, man. Every time before I hit record, I always gotta hear the same performance. It's from my boy, I guess. I ain't gonna say my boy. I don't really know him, but dude named D Smoke, man, from Rhythm and Flow. That shit was crazy. Obviously, we back at it again, man. I think this is episode 80. Who knows what episode this is, man? Probably like 84, 85. But I've done 40 other podcasts that never saw the light of day because you just work on it. So yeah, man. Shit's crazy. So obviously you see the little band-aid. I'm not trying to bring Nelly back. I'm not trying to bring that whole early 2000s vibe back. Scratched my face, man, and it looks terrible. So I had to put this over it so it could heal up and clear, because or else it looks like I got some fucked up shit on my cheek. So put the band-aid over it. Always kind of question if I want to put the band-aid over it or just let the cut be out, because you just never know what looks worse or what draws more attention to it. But, you know, whatever. It is what it is. I chose the Band-Aid. It was 50-50, Band-Aid or no Band-Aid, and I went Band-Aid. So this past weekend was kind of crazy, man. This time change has legit fucked me up, yo. Like, the sun goes down at like 5 o'clock in the afternoon. By 7, I'm fucking falling asleep. Shit is crazy. I don't understand how, like, some states do daylight savings and some other states don't. I don't understand why it gets so dark, and it gets so dark so fast. Like, before it would get dark at 7:30. Now it gets dark at 5. At 5:15 it's pitch black. It's just fucking madness, bro. Like, I don't understand it at all. Y'all can't see this. I'm gonna keep looking off to the side because I got my dog in the room with me, and he's like sleeping right there. He's knocked out, snoring. I don't know if the mic will pick any of that up, but man, pit bulls are supposed to be tough, but this motherfucker don't do shit, man. He's just laying there. Anyways, the time changes fucked him up too, because he's falling asleep at like 7 p.m. and I gotta like wake him up to take him outside. This time change has been weirder than any other time change I remember. I guess because maybe I don't remember every time change like that, or have paid attention to it. I've made a note of it, but it just seems like it gets darker earlier and earlier, and it feels later and later, earlier shit. Like, I'm struggling to stay awake till like 11. I don't know. It's crazy. But yeah, man. Went out to my boy Juan's house. It's kind of weird to say my boy because he's like 70 years old. But you know, man, I don't have many young friends in this area, so hanging out with him. That's my wife's best friend's dad. He lives up in Ocala. Went out to hang out with him for the game. Obviously, Miami won. Which was, I can't say obviously, because if you heard the last podcast, I was not confident at all in that game. I didn't know what to expect. We could have easily lost that game. I just didn't know FSU was more of a dumpster fire than I originally thought. We'll get more into that in a little bit here. But yeah, man, had a pretty good weekend. Kind of relaxed. Kind of didn't, do stuff around the house. Did laundry. Try to figure out why, this is like some old man shit here, guys. I just want to apologize. So for some reason, when I do laundry, my whites always have like I don't know how to describe it. It's like, like when something doesn't dry right and it has that kind of smell, but it only brings it out when I sweat, right? So like when I'm working, a little gross. I apologize, keeping it real. So when I sweat and I'm working, I smell it, but it doesn't have. And mind you, it's the same laundry, same settings, same water, same everything, but my colors don't do it. Right, like my black V-necks, my jeans, no other pair of clothes except my white clothes does it. And I've washed it in cold, I washed it in warm, I washed it in hot. I did the trick that my mom told me, which is adding baking soda, and it still happens. And it's only my whites, man. Some racist shit, like the white not like me. I'm not sure what the fuck is going on. I don't know, man, but it's fucking weird. But yeah, hold on. But yeah, man. So I'm trying to figure that out. Just washed it under a different setting, like under a delicate, and I don't know, trying to figure out why it's just my whites that smell that way. It doesn't make any fucking sense at all whatsoever. So I'm trying to figure that out. So yeah, wife was out of town this weekend. So it was just me. And again, like, since that guy popped up on my property, like, I've been on edge about the shit. So like, now I take my gun with me everywhere. Like when I walk my dog, I have my smaller compact in my pocket. I really need to get like a holster for it, but I don't know which one would work. Like what would be the most comfortable for me. So I'm trying to figure that out, look into that a little bit more here in the coming weeks. But and I'm sure my boy Chris that listens to this, or my boy Frank, they'll send me texts or they'll shoot me links on, they'll send me links on which holsters to look into, because they know the guns I have. They're actually the ones I talked to before I bought my gun, to see which was the most trustworthy and dependent. Because I just thought you pulled the trigger. Like, besides AR-15s, which were enforced to me, and like anti-tank weapons, like I don't really have much knowledge with handguns, as you know, if you've listened to the show. So they were the ones they were the subject matter experts that I talked to about which handgun I should get. I didn't think of like reliability and stuff like that. I just thought you buy a gun, you pull the trigger, and you're good, you know. But it's not. Like, different guns have different manufacturers and different settings and like different trigger pull strength and all this type of shit. Like, it gets very technical. So I was like, look, man, I just want some shit to point and shoot that's dependable, that won't jam on me in case I ever have to use it. God, I hope I never have to use it, because it's not something I feel comfortable with, but I will if I have to. Which I honestly thought I would have if I would have been home alone and that guy would have pulled up on my property. Like, there would have been a couple shots and then a conversation, maybe a couple shots, and then call 911, depending on how the conversation went. Because it's trespassing. Like, it just bothers me, man. Like, it's a violation. It's, at the very least, it's a violation. Kind of like pissing on my property. I'm good. Like, you have no right to be here. But yeah, so I've been on edge about that. I actually felt weird leaving my house on Saturday, because like leaving my house, every time I come home, like, I'm worried that like my door will be kicked in, or like a window will be busted open, because like who knows what the fuck he saw with the pictures he took. I don't know, man. Still not something I'm cool with, that somebody can just pop up on your property like that. It's just weird. But yeah, man. Anyways, so like, what would you do, right? Like, what would you do if you're home and then like some guy just starts taking pictures of the outside of your house? Like, would you react all cool? Would it be like a normal thing? I don't know, man. Would you have a conversation with him? Like, how would you handle that shit? Like, right now I could talk about like what I would have done, right? But like, it hasn't happened to me, so like I don't know what I would do in that moment. So that becomes a totally different thing. Like, am I gonna really slap a 70-year-old? I mean, probably. Like, if he gets out of, I feel like a slap on a 70-year-old, and then like he'll fall down. Hopefully, he doesn't break a hip. And you call the cops. I feel like you're pretty safe. I don't think you have to necessarily shoot a 70-year-old. So like, I think my cutoff. This is a crazy conversation that I'm having with myself. Like, I think my cutoff of like shooting at somebody where like I legit would feel threatened is like 50 and under. Because 50, you're not completely debilitated to the fact that like you can't really defend yourself. But if you lose to a 50-year-old, you should probably never try to fight again. You know what I mean? I don't know. that shit went like in a weirdly dark, awkwardly funny place that I wasn't expecting to go. But let's get into the rest of the show, man. You already know what it is. That's gonna be my my scene change sound. It's always gonna be a little bit different because it's, you know me, I'm random as fuck, man. But yeah, so this weekend I talked to my brother, aka Polar Bear, aka Josh, aka Mr. Japan. So he's hanging out and he told me about the show called Daybreak on Netflix. And I had seen it before. I watched the trailer. And I always try to wait for like somebody to mention it to get their like opinion of it, if I should spend my time on it or if I would be wasting my time on it. But Daybreak is really funny, yo. Like, I'm on episode 5 or 6. I was up to like 11 last night, 10 or 11, watching it. I probably should watch the last 20 because I think I fell asleep watching it because it was late. Again, time changes fucked me up, yo. But it's funny, man. It's kind of like, it's a crossbreed between Zombieland, Deadpool, and Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Shout out to Matthew Broderick, who's actually in the show. Because I didn't realize until I was doing some shit earlier. I was like, yo, like, he talks to the camera just like Ferris Bueller does. And at the beginning of the first episode, I don't know if you noticed, they go Wheeler, which is a main character's name, which is what they did in Ferris Bueller. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like it's a cross-pollination, symbiotic relationship of that type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's that type of mix. It's a really entertaining show. It's graphic. You know what I mean? It's probably not something you want to watch with your kids if they're too young. But like for us adults and like kids over the age of like 13 should be fine watching it. It's like a post-apocalyptic high school drama. You know what I mean? And that everybody has their cliques, but the cliques are a little bit more how do I say, a little bit more violent than just the regular bullying. Like they kill people and shit like that. Like they have the jocks, they have like the Kardashians, they have like the 4-H club, which are like the agricultural team. But everybody has their shit, everybody has their cliques and their sections. And then for some reason all the adults are like ghoulies, where like they only could say they could only repeat the last words they said before the bombs dropped or whatever. I don't want to give too much away if you want to watch it, but again, I haven't even finished watching it. So it's a really entertaining show, man. I really enjoy it. It's kind of like dumb comedy, so it's not gonna be for everybody. Like my wife wouldn't like it. She doesn't like dumb comedy. She doesn't like Will Ferrell movies. I know, Josh. Before you say something, I know. You know what I mean? She doesn't appreciate those kind of movies. So it's kind of a dumb comedy, kind of like too on the nose, stupid toilet humor in a way, you know? Like there's this one scene where like the main character, Josh Whedon, like tries to cut off a guy's finger and it gets stuck in his hand. Like the blade gets stuck in the guy's hand. It's just stupid, man. Like it's really entertaining though. I enjoy it. So I'm probably gonna try to watch a couple episodes here before I gotta do some more shit, because I got my fam coming down this weekend, the Granadas, all 4 of them, man. Can't wait to have them here. You know what I mean? It's always a good time to have family here. Got a big house to be able to have everybody here, so it'll be cool, man. And shout out to my boy Danny that I'll have on the podcast this weekend. That is, as husbands, like you got to realize we're pretty useless when you ask us a bunch of questions. So like I had to ask him a couple questions, like, yo man, is there any food you want me to bring? Unrelated to Daybreak, right? Is there any food you want me to buy? You know what I mean? Like any like nutritional shit. And he's like, nah man, I'm fucking useless. Just ask my wife. I was like, I figured you'd at least know what your kids ate, bro. Like bare minimum. You know what I mean? And then obviously I talked to Jenny. He's like, yeah, just get, this and that. Okay, cool. Your husband is fucking useless. Couldn't have answered that. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to having them. It's actually going to be the first time I have a guest in studio. It's not actually a studio, though. Like, you can't see what's behind the camera, obviously. But this is a fucking bedroom. Like, behind the scenes, guys, breaking news. This is a bedroom. Like, there's a bed right behind it. That's where my dog is sleeping on. I'm going to have to, like, move this shit around to be able to put 2 people in it to shoot this way. But, yeah, man. Gotta make it work to what I do. I love podcasting. I love doing this shit. So gotta make it happen and work any way I can. But I don't know why. I think I talked about this before. I still don't know why Netflix is doing weekly shows. I'm glad this one isn't weekly. I'm glad this one was just all 10 episodes at once. Boom, done. But in about 10 days here, no, 7, holy shit. In a week, Disney Plus comes out. That's going to be a game changer, man, because Disney Plus is going to have all the fucking content. I should probably sign up for Disney Plus now. Like, is that a thing I could do? I got to look into that. I'll let you know on the next podcast, probably Thursday, if I can sign up or not. I know a couple of my friends. I think Ula, my boy Ula, has already signed up. Shout out to Ula from 11X CrossFit. And Saudi, of course. I know he'll be sensitive. You know what I mean? But we'll see, man. But yeah, Daybreak, yo. Highly recommend it. I checked it out. I like it. It's something you could watch that like you could just turn your brain off. You know what I mean? Like with all the shit going on, like you know me, man. I like to get in like the political debates and rants and all that shit. Like it's a good show to watch, just like to decompress from bullshit. Like it's completely fictional. It's fucking hilarious, and it has like these little moments of like honesty, which are pretty cool. All right, man. Let's get into this next one. So I tried to Google images of FSU, but this is the thing I kept getting. Like if you're listening to this is a trash can, a smelly trash can right here. Let me do this right here. There's a smelly trash can, cause I didn't know what the fuck. I didn't know FSU was this bad. They just fired their head coach on Sunday, I think. So Miami kind of ended their program. Kirk Herbstreit, if you watched it on the Chris Fowler Instagram, shitted all over them. All over them. Said that they shouldn't be playing football. All they want to do is talk shit. Obviously, he didn't say this. This is an uncensored podcast, so I can. All they wanted to do was talk shit. All they want to do is fight. Like, they'll give up 20 yards on a 3rd and 15 and make the tackle, then come up chirping. Like, they're just... Listen, I don't have the same anger and vitriol for them that, you know what I mean? Like, I'm kind of indifferent in a way because, like, yo, like, I want them to be good, but not better than us, right? Like, that's genuinely how I feel. But, man, they made Miami look like a good football team. And Miami and them had the same record going in. So, Miami looked the best they've looked all season on offense and defense. Like, our offensive line looked good. Our offensive line kept a clean pocket. I don't think they gave up a sack this last game. Defense, we had 9 sacks. Greg Rousseau, player of the week nationally, had 4 sacks. I think like 6 tackles for loss. The guy was a monster. True redshirt freshman. So I think next year will be his 3rd year. So we might only have him for 1 more year. But man, that guy's a monster. He should play every down except maybe a couple plays to like give him a blow and let like Scott Patchen back in. But man, that guy's a monster. But I did not know how bad FSU was. Like, cause I'll be honest, like I don't go out of my way to watch other teams, right? Like I don't have that kind of time to watch a bunch of college football on Saturdays. I target watch. Like Hurricanes are my team. That's who I watch. So I don't get the big picture as to how bad or good one team is, except for my team against the other team, right? I'll probably watch Alabama LSU on Saturday just because that's a pro game. Like it's gonna be a hell of a college football game, like it usually is. I'm rooting for LSU in that one. They finally have a quarterback. Hopefully, dude will do something. But man, like I did not know FSU had fallen off that bad, and it can't be all on Willie Taggart because I think he's the first coach after Jimbo Fisher. But Jimbo Fisher left him with nothing, left him on a sinking ship. Like Chris Fowler or Kirk Herbstreit said that he's trying to steer the Titanic. Nah, man, I think with them, like they've already hit the iceberg and they're trying to figure out how to survive. Because if they're a team with like no discipline, I was talking to they're a team with no discipline. I mean, Kirk Herbstreit went hard, man. If you have the time, go watch that on Chris Fowler's Instagram. Like I stopped at the dump today because I had to take the trash out, and the guy that I paid the money to, 2 trash bags or $1 or whatever. So I paid him, and he had a Florida State hat on, and I was like, "Yo, man, you guys had a tough day on Saturday." He was like, "Well, at least the guys, at least Willie Taggart's fired." I was like, "Yeah, but Willie Taggart doesn't make the tackles and does all the shit talking." You know what I mean? Like, Willie Taggart tried too much to be a player's coach, and maybe that was his own fault. You know what I mean? Maybe in Florida, you have to be a hard-headed, not hard-headed, but a stubborn, you know what I mean, fiery coach to get these players to listen. I mean, because football is number one in this state. They have a little bit of baseball depending on where you live. You know what I mean? Sprinkled in maybe some soccer, but overall, it's number one. I mean, it was just weird to see. We're like, dude, like we beat them 27-10, and there should have been more if we had a more capable offense. Like we had 4 drives inside of their 40, and we got nothing out of it all those times. Like that could have been a really ugly game if our offense was better. Like we didn't play a perfect game. Like our offense probably left 3 to 4 scores out on that field. So it could have been in the 50s. It could have been bad if we had a more capable offense that like had a script. Like that in between time in a game for Miami is always a struggle. Like they tend to start all right and finish a little bit stronger, but in the middle they always have these drives that are just like, oh, let's try this. You know what I mean? It's not a methodical thing where like he has the entire scheme planned. Like, oh, let's try this tight end reverse, or oh, let's, you know what I mean? Oh, let's try, like, there's no identity on offense to be like, yo, we're gonna shut this shit down. These are the plays that we're gonna, you know what I mean? Like remember the Titans, like we have these 4 plays we know that can work, and they're like Novocaine, just give them time. Like there's no identity in that sense. there's no foundation where our offense comes from. Like they're trying to be too many things or not many things. I'm not sure how to describe it. I'm trying my best, but like this offense should be better. Like we have the playmakers, and we still scored 27 points. Jaron Williams had a solid day. Two beautiful deep passes that landed right in the breadbasket to I think Jeff Thomas and D Wiggins. You know what I mean? Like we're making some strides, but got to figure out what that is on offense. The defense has gotten vastly improved since Manny Diaz started throwing in his input. I mean, but Greg Rousseau, man, I can't say enough about this kid. Like I spend enough time shitting on Florida State. This is the new Florida State logo, by the way, right here. But yeah, man, they gotta do something. I kind of feel bad for Florida State. Like I got friends that are Florida State fans, and I don't, you know what I mean? I get along well with them. Like I'm not gonna shit on them, but I didn't know how far they had fallen off. And I'm sure I'll hear from my boy Manny, like, oh man, but you guys only have one win better. I get, dude, like I'm not saying that we're way better. That's not what we're 5-4. You're 4-5. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm just saying that nationally, how you're viewed, like we're like, oh, okay, we had one fluke year where we went 10-3, but for Chris Fowler to go as hard as he did with them, man, or again Kirk Herbstreit, that was the surprising and shocking part because they're struggling too. Miami isn't a world beater either. You know what I mean? We're barely in it. We're barely in anything. We lost to fucking Georgia Tech. You know what I mean? But the Chris Fowler thing is the one I found the most surprising. How I keep saying Chris Fowler. The Kirk Herbstreit thing is the one I found the most surprising, man. Because I wasn't expecting that from the media guy. You know, I know he's a former player and all this shit, but it was just surprising to me. I was like, okay, like it was just because it wasn't an important game or a nationally prominent game. Like these are two 500 teams, and one team got shitted on and one team didn't. I guess because one team won, but we'll find out this Saturday. We play Louisville, and we're still somehow in the conversation. That's how bad the Coastal is in the ACC. We're still somehow in the conversation for possibly winning the Coastal. If we win out and some other things happen, like a 8-4 team could possibly be in the fucking, I don't know. I'm not gonna get my hopes up because we're still figuring some shit out. So, but honestly, man, if I leave you, I hope Florida State gets it together. Like I want them to be better. Those games when Miami and Florida State are good are some of the best games in the country. I put that up there with, because Clemson doesn't really have a rival. I guess you could say South Carolina, but they don't have like a clear-cut rival where like it's passionate. I don't know. I guess South Carolina fans could let me know if there is that team. But like LSU has Alabama has Auburn. You know what I mean? Like Miami has Florida State. So we'll see. We'll figure it out. But yeah, man, I don't know. That's weird. Oh shit! It's rant time. 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 All right, so sometimes I want to rant political. You know how I do. But this isn't that rant. This is the rant on what I touched on earlier. Dude, why the fuck do we do daylight savings, man? Why is it that I'm 35, 4 months from 36, and this shit has affected me like a motherfucker? Like, dude, I'm lazy as shit. Like, I don't want to do anything. Today, the whole day has been overcast. I'm like, yo, man, fuck all of this. Like, fuck it all. Like, my neighbor, shout out to my neighbor, asked me to do some stuff today. And I was like, it was like 1 o'clock or something, like 11 o'clock or some shit. And I was like, dude, I'm fighting the sun. You know what I mean? Because when the sun goes down here, bro, it's pitch fucking black. There's no lights for 4 miles. You got to use your high beams as soon as the sun goes down. So I got to be as productive as I can in a smaller window of time. And this is one of the things that I love to do is podcast. This is one of the things that makes me feel productive. You know what I mean? Like I got home and I'm like battling the sun because like once the sun goes 2 down, dude, like I go down with the sun. Like I'm shutting it down with it. Like it's a fucking wrap for me. So I got home, cooked some fucking asparagus that I usually forget to cook. It's my version of a Caesar salad. right? Like I usually wait too fucking long and let that go bad. That's what happens with that shit. So I did that, did the dishes, you know what I mean? Started doing laundry, all this adulting shit. Cause like I'm trying to do all this shit as fast as I can because as soon as this shit's done, as soon as the sun goes down, it's a fucking wrap for me, man. Like dude, this is so fucking weird, man. And it's only gonna get darker earlier and earlier. My dog is right here off camera, knocked the fuck out, and I'm screaming, and he could give a fuck less. It doesn't make any fucking sense. Any fucking sense why this time. And it doesn't happen in every state, right? Like the West Coast doesn't have a fucking time change. We're just at a closer time to them than we were before, or a time further away. I don't know, and I don't give a flying fuck why we do this shit. Why? Maybe because what? Because some farmers in the 1800s, depending on how their crops were, dude, times change. There's barely any farmland anymore in this state. All this shit is getting built up by fucking communities because we're overpopulating every fucking thing. This time change is ridiculous, man. How did it go from getting dark at 8 o'clock at night, sometimes 9 o'clock at night, to fucking 4? But what's next? The sun's gonna start setting at 3? This shit makes no sense. This is in Alaska, man. Fuck all of that shit. Fuck it all. Dude, I'm looking outside right now. As the time of recording, it is 2:35. 2:35. It's already looking dark. It's overcast. It's fucking a lazy ass day, and I'm in here podcasting. Fuck all of that shit. All of it. I apologize for all the cuss words I used. Mom, please don't hit me with the chancla. I love you. I'm out. Peace.